I'm always a little dumbfounded when I hear parents say, well, my kids don't like learning that way. My kids don't like those books. My kids don't like doing school that way. In the famous words of Joy Behar, so what? So what? 3 ways that you could be starting on the wrong foot when it comes to homeschooling. Let's talk about it. Hi there, my name is Karen. Welcome back to our house. And if you're new here, welcome. I like to help parents like yourself achieve sustainable and enjoyable homeschooling. So let's get right into it and talk about 3 ways that you could be starting off on the wrong foot, whether you're starting from the very beginning or transitioning over from a group school environment or a different method of homeschooling. Now, we use the Robinson curriculum here. It is, I think, a unique methodology where the kids are teaching themselves, self-taught curriculum using some of the best materials possible. It's very minimalistic, but effective, powerful, affordable, and it teaches kids great study habits that they will keep for the rest of their lives. And so when you homeschool in this way and you see the results, you can kind of see what others are doing and the results that that system is producing, and you can see why it's not really always the best way to go. Even though it may be popular at the time, you may have heard that this is the only way to do it. I'm here to tell you that it's not. So let's jump into reason number 1, and that is focusing too much on the curriculum versus the system as a whole. So I love how Dr. Lybrand talked about this one time in a podcast that we did, is think of it as a triangle. These are the 3 sides to really having a great home school, like the entire home education wrapped up in one package. You need skills, building on those continual skills, skill development, as well as the curriculum. You can even say the system, methodology here. And then the other piece of that triangle is the parental relationship. And I've heard someone else say this on YouTube, and I thought, wow, that is so true. How you partner is how you parent, meaning it's going to impact the other. How, even though you think, well, I'm a great mom, I'm a great homeschooler, but I got to work on that relationship with my husband. Really, that is priority. That is priority for your kids, is to work on that. Again, so true. How you partner is how you parent. So the trifecta there is the curriculum, methodology, it's the skill development, and it's the parental relationship. And so I think a lot of parents make the mistake of neglecting 2 sides of that pyramid and just focusing on the curriculum. They view that that is the piece. If they can just get the right curriculum, get the most priciest curriculum, a lot of times we want to throw money at the problem, and that's not the answer. We can see that in the school system. Look at how much money is constantly being thrown at that problem, and it's not working. So one way that you can start off on the wrong foot is not realizing that it's a lot more than just curriculum, and thinking that your money will buy your answers, your solutions, and only focusing on that. Remember, your relationship with your spouse is teaching them more than you know, as well as what you're choosing as the curriculum and the methodology, fair enough. However, you also need to keep in mind that you're working towards a goal of skill development to really prepare them for the real world. What profit is there for them to have this straight A homeschool report card and they can't manage in the real world, right? So keep that in mind. Don't make the mistake of only focusing on the curriculum and thinking that you can just throw money at the problem and it will all work out. Number 2 mistake you can make is starting too much too soon. Parents can be overzealous when it comes to this, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom of just little children and you're trying to fill up the day. You want some routine, you want some schedule. So you think the solution is, school. Let's just have a formal school period that takes up the whole morning. However, if they're too young, 2, 3, 4, I know you think, well, they're showing some interest. But if you go at it too much, too long, longer than 5, 10, 15 minutes, to the point where they don't want to do it anymore and you're still forcing them to do it, stop. This is doing more damage than you think. There are plenty of other things that you can do at this stage that are much more enjoyable, sustainable, and educational, such as reading aloud. Read out loud to your kids. Memorize poetry. Memorize nursery rhymes. Teach them nursery rhymes. Incorporate them in your day when you're cooking, when you're cleaning. Incorporate them in the chores, in the garden work, and just talk to them, have them in conversation with you all throughout the day. This is much better than just formal academic sessions way too early, way too soon, and way too much, going for way too long. And so the child just gets a really bad taste for school, and it starts you off on the wrong foot, and it actually does more damage than what you think of it being helpful. So that's another way that you can get started off on the wrong foot. The third mistake that you can make when homeschooling is not being consistent. And I love this quote that I heard from Mr. Hake, the author of the early Saxon books. He said, "Your willpower has to be stronger than their won't power." Naturally, as kids, they're going to want to try, maybe not knowing it, but to manipulate you, to throw something at you in hopes that maybe you will change your approach and do something else, maybe something that they like better, or maybe not doing anything at all. So your willpower has to be stronger. Remember, they don't know anything about this. They don't know about homeschooling. It's just like if you told them, feed yourself a proper nutritious diet. What are they going to go to? They're going to gravitate towards candy bars and ice cream. They don't know any better yet. It's up to us to show up and show them how to do it, what needs to be done. Now, if you're at a point where you can't consistently work on the 3 R's every single day, just the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, then there's something squirrely going on with your homeschool approach. If you're doing a week of math to catch up, and then you're doing a week of English, and you're taking a week off because you're tired and burnt out, if you're homeschooling in that way, take it as feedback that something's not quite working. You should be able to consistently work on the 3 R's every single day. And maybe it's something like you need the Robinson curriculum, to where they're doing majority of it all on their own, so it's not on you. If you're focusing on yourself to be the dispenser of knowledge and information, then you're gonna have a hard time. That's not sustainable, in my opinion. So keep that in mind. And along those lines, I would say, don't let your kids dictate what your homeschooling should be like. I'm always a little dumbfounded when I hear parents say, well, my kids don't like learning that way. My kids don't like those books. My kids don't like doing school that way. My kids don't like this. And I'm thinking to myself, in the famous words of Joy Behar, so what? So what? So what that they don't like it? Tough. You're the parent. You're the one that is supporting them, investing in them, educating them, responsible for them. You're accountable for them. Who cares what they think? Sure, there are places for their input, and we make tweaks here and there, and maybe a swap here and there, but once you start swapping out or changing things to the point where it's unrecognizable to your original plan, then you've got a problem. You are the parent. It's got to work for you. You're the one in charge. You know what's best for them. You know the system or the routine, whatever it is. So if your kids come to you and they say, I don't like this, this is boring, etc., just think to yourself, so what? And really, as adults, how many times are we in situations where we need to do something that we don't want to do, but tough, we need to do it, right? Like Dr. Libran says again, self-discipline is having an itch that you don't scratch, or getting to an assignment, you think, I don't want to do this, but then you just shrug and you do it anyway. These are mental disciplines that are necessary in life, and they start now in the early years being developed, cultivated, being consistent with it until it becomes part of their identity. And I also want to harp it a little bit here on learning styles, because so many parents want to cater to their kids' learning styles. And I understand that. You love your children. You want to help them. You want to help them be successful. But realize that in life, it's not your strengths that you need to worry about. It's your limitations. So work on your limitations, because that is what sets you back. That is what keeps you from opportunities. Your strengths will take care of themselves. And they have the whole rest of the day to practice their hobbies and their interests and read and learn in the style that they like. But think about it. My son is not going to be able to go to a plant and say, well, I would like to listen to that manual in an audio book format. Can I do that? No, that's not the real world. You don't get to always choose the medium in which you learn information. So it's best that you just work on learning through all different ways, right? And it is so important to be able to read something and truly comprehend what it says. That is a superpower. So again, Work on your limitations, on your weaknesses, because that is ultimately what holds you back. It's our job to prepare them for the real world through our capabilities. And a great thing about a self-teaching curriculum is that they are not limited by us, by our gaps in knowledge or our weaknesses. They are able to truly go as far as they can on their own merit, on their own abilities, instead of relying on us. So let's recap the 3 ways that you could be starting off on the wrong foot. Number 1, focusing solely on the curriculum as the end all be all and just throwing money at it year after year. And you might be neglecting the other very crucial pieces such as skill development and the parent's relationship. Number 2, starting too soon, too much, too soon, and you can kill the love of learning. There are great effective ways to get there. I have a course that I'm working on, RC Course for Littles, where I take the greatest resources from the past of very passionate educators, and it's all very simple but very effective. It's minimalist. The resources are free online. There's not a lot of cost. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be draining. It can be sustainable, and you can start at age 5. But there's other things you can do before that. You can read aloud, memorize poetry, all of that. But the academic portion, you can do too much, too soon, and then cause problems. And number 3 is not being consistent and or letting your kids run the show. These 3 things are just setting you up for a hard time when it comes to homeschooling, and a lot of bouncing and back and forth and writing on emotions and feelings, which then dictates your behavior, which can lead to just a not so great homeschool environment. So instead of these 3 things, focus on all components of that triangle that work really well. Focus on cultivating those early years of setting the stage, bonding with reading aloud and incorporating them in your day, just conversation, reading aloud to them, all of that. And number 3, set up the system that is going to work for you, that is sustainable, that is effective, that you know you can do in the long run, and it's bringing benefits to not just the kids, but you as well, the whole family, and stick to it. Yes, tweak some things if the feedback comes back that way, that, well, if we just tweak this, we can get a better result. But don't just throw the baby with the bathwater every single time because somebody doesn't like something or find something boring. That is just a recipe, I think, for continual burnout year after year. All right, if you enjoyed this video and this type of content, please smash that like button. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm because let's face it, my channel is pretty small and the Robinson curriculum is not that well heard of in the homeschool community yet. It is, but not as mainstream yet. And so we're trying to change that with 1 like button at a time. It also really helps out the algorithm if you comment anything down below. Comment down below your thoughts. Do you disagree with me? It's okay. Let me know in the comments down below. I appreciate every single one, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And I invite you to join my membership site, which is named after Ella Francis Lynch organization. This one's called the Modern League of Teacher Mothers, and I host their live Q&As, coffee chats. We have book clubs, read aloud selections for kids, as well as the special additional training workshops, private videos from me. And you can also have access to my 26 video course, Sustainable Homeschooling 101. And really all of it, the course and the membership site focuses on content, no burnout zone, on being sustainable, sticking to what is essential, what is important, work habits, study habits, morals, the 3 R's, simplicity at its best, right? All of that in this membership site. So I hope you will join me there, and I'll see you soon. Bye.